Oh my gosh, stop. Everything you're doing, you're going to want to pay very close attention because in this episode of Prime People, we sit down with Mark Salerno. Go check out his Instagram reels, his TikTok account. This guy's blowing up. He's one of the most authentic, truthful people I have ever met about how he got to where he was, struggles he had in the business, and how he became a top luxury broker. And he's building an award-winning team. So Mark was nice enough to give us a lot of his time. The only thing that I ask is you go follow his accounts, hit that like and that subscribe button to keep these videos coming. We're going to have more and more guests coming on, and comment, let us know what you thought of the episode and the best thing that you learned about it.
So I've never done this before, going live on IG, Zoom, the whole shebang. So this is going to be fun here.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're in the process of setting up a studio in our boardroom because we do this a lot, and I think this is a cool way to do it. So, oh, look at that. It's loading me in. This is crazy. Live in the future. Ah, that's awesome.
Now I just got to kill the volume on this. So, because we're going to use the volume from the Zoom.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There you go. I don't think it's going to pick it up. This is crazy. We live in the future, brother. We're on Instagram Live. We're on Facebook. We're streaming a webinar on Zoom. Might as well go live on Clubhouse at the same time, right?
Yeah, honestly. Well, listen, that's where officially I would say we met, was on Clubhouse, right?
For sure. Yeah, I remember being in a room and somebody was talking reels and the TikTok, and you've been an inspiration to me on TikTok. Like, we didn't even know each other for a long time. We sell beautiful properties. We kind of do the same thing here. And, I was looking for a format that spoke to me because I didn't want to do the dances. I didn't want to do a lot of the things I saw on the platform. And, when I started picking up on your videos, I literally, like, there's two agents out there in a meeting right now. We were just talking about you, and she calls it the Salerno Shuffle. We were leaving an appointment, and she's like, looking at the way that he frames the shots and everything else, and then taking a recipe and then making your own sauce with it is kind of what we started doing. And yeah, you came in, and I mean, you started dropping knowledge on everybody, and you're a very giving person. So I wanted to sit down with the audience here and dig into, your background, how you got to where you are, your thoughts on all things tech and social, and, what you're thinking next. Cause I do think you're a bit of a visionary when it comes to what you do. So, digging into where you're going next is really why I want to take this conversation. So if you're down, I'll just start picking your brain.
I'm absolutely down. Question though. So on the IG, I see people commenting and it's saying it's echoing. You know why? Because I think I have the volume off on Instagram, but
playing on your computer,
because it hears my computer talking. That's what it is. So you know what I'm actually going to do? Let me try something here. Let me shut the volume on my computer and put the volume on Instagram. That might. Now let's try that. So let's just.
Are you talk like full time, or is there?
Oh, I hear you now. What I did was, I know what was happening. So people on Instagram were hearing my computer talking. So I turned off the volume for you on the Zoom, and now I turned it on through Instagram. It's all live on both platforms. So is everything good now? I see people saying perfect. There we go. We figured it out. See, there's always a way to get stuff done, right?
If everybody's all right there in the Instagram feed, hit that heart button. We want to know that you can hear it. Make sure that you give this man some love, because he inspires you as much as he does me.
Well, Justin, what I want to do first, before we even dig into it, I would love you to introduce yourself to my Instagram platform.
Oh, okay. I wanted this to be about you. I don't.
That's fine, but I want to introduce you. Listen. It's a pleasure to be with you today. So I want you to, let people know who you are, please.
I appreciate it very much, Mark. Yeah, so my name is Justin Konikow. I'm based in London, Ontario, Canada. We actually go Grand Bend to Port Stanley, so like lake to lake. We cover like Woodstock, actually Kitchener, Cambridge to about Sarnia. Own a real estate brokerage. We have a production studio that kind of feeds that brokerage and does a lot of our media. And we do very similar things to you do. I get very unique properties. It's just in our market, you kind of drive till you qualify. So with what you're dealing with now, I'm probably going to see those prices in like 10, 15 years if I can make it in this business that long. But, it's very similar, right? Like, I stick to the basics. I run a team. I operate my team very similar to you. I know we had that one in-depth conversation. You're an operator, brother. Like, you're in there trying to be the best agent on the planet. I'm as well. I'm a producer. So I'm out there working, teaching these guys how to fish, but ultimately trying to get to a place where they're finding the fishing spots and we're going fishing together. So,
Absolutely.
we align on so many things. I think that's what led to this conversation, right?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Guys, give Justin a follow. If you're not following him, click on his profile and give him a follow. And also on Clubhouse, because for anybody that missed it, like we got introduced on Clubhouse. Go on Clubhouse, give Justin a follow. He is the man. He moderates a lot of rooms. He drops knowledge on everybody. So he's the right guy to follow. I just want to let you guys know that.
I was born and raised in Montreal and always kind of been a bit of a people connector. That's kind of always been my role. You'll notice I'm going to probably emulate a bit of the Italian accent that you had because I grew up Italians as my second family. Very interesting kind of to watch different groups of people come together. And I do think Clubhouse brings people like us together where
Absolutely.
we ideate. I mean, it was a Saturday night, we're sitting on that platform working out ideas and like we're talking, we're doing business planning. You can do a lot on that platform. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite social media apps right now.
Amazing. Amazing.
So give me your story. What do you do? And what do you do like for my audience?
Okay, so my name's Mark Salerno. I don't know which one should I be looking at. I should look at the Zoom one, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
doesn't matter.
so everybody, my name is Mark Salerno. I'm the broker of record at Salerno Realty Inc. here in Vaughan, Ontario. I've been in the real estate business since 2006. I run a small team. I have 5 team members on my team, 1 additional independent agent at my brokerage. We are very boutique. I've always been boutique. We're going to stay boutique. I sell like that. That's what I do. I don't wear the manager hat. I'm not a recruiter. I love being in the game, and that's what my passion is. I love meeting different people every day. That's the beauty of this business, and I think that's what keeps me motivated. Is every day is a different day. Every deal is a different deal. There's always different people that you're going to meet, and it's just so pleasing to be able to, again, I guess, reach out to different people because everyone's different, and that's the beauty of this business. And look, we primarily focus on the residential sector, the resale sector of the market. That's our bread and butter. That's what we focus on. I don't want to say we have a particular price point that we work with because we handle all the way from 1-bedroom apartment rentals all the way up to multi-million-dollar luxury homes. Right? Nobody's business is too big. Nobody's business is too small. We always want people to know that. If it has anything to do with real estate, hey, we're the guys that you want to hit up. That's for sure. We love what we do.
I think the public sees the videos and they just assume this guy sells like Drake's house and that's it, right? Like that's big or small, he sells them all.
Yeah, we do it all. We really do, and it's just that's been my MO from the start of my career. One of my first handful of deals was 3 hours north, right? So like, social media has given us that ability to sell in a wide variety of places. We've averaged selling in probably 18 to 20 different cities in the last 3 years each year. So it's always nice to learn different markets also, which is great, right? But we have to make sure that we're not going to take on business that we don't feel we can handle and we can service properly. So that's the most important aspect of it.
I got to mention the jerseys behind you, right? Because I think the way you approach real estate is very similar to NHL caliber talent and people that are doing things at an ultra high level. They put in a lot of time training. Sounds like they have an expertise and they know their position and you play that position. Sometimes the position changes. Let me ask you, you got into business. How did you get started? Like when you first entered the industry?
So I actually told this story. I don't know if you were in the room that day on Clubhouse, but it was a new agent room and we were just talking. Obviously, people were asking questions, and I told them, I said, "Look, I'm not afraid to say this. It took me 6 months to do my first deal." So, and that just goes to people that's like, oh, everyone thinks it's automatic. You come into this business, you're going to be successful. It's going to work. It's all, money being thrown at you. It's not that way. And I love telling that story because it's the truth, right? 6 months into the business, I'm lucky I was young when I came into the business. I was 21 years old, right? So, obviously I was living at home at the time. So I didn't have the, the pressure of having a family and paying for a mortgage and all this stuff. So I was able to stay in the business, let's say at that point, because most people 6 months without a paycheck, you can't survive, right? But the most important thing I said to myself was, I love this. And I know with putting in a little bit of hard work and, doing the extra little things, it'll come. Eventually it'll come. And I'm very thankful that I stayed patient with myself. And I didn't put too much pressure on myself to say, hey, it has to work immediately. And look, 15 years later, we are where we are. So that was something how I started in the business. And look, you see, for example, I had my own brokerage, Salerno Realty Inc. It's a family-run brokerage. When I came into the business, I didn't go to work at this company. This company's been around since 1970. From the mid 80s on, my father only sold land. So it was pretty much a business card and that was it. No website, no nothing, right? But when he got sick, I said, you know what? I got to come back to the company. I want to rebrand it because I was at Royal LePage. I started my career first 3 years at Royal LePage. My father said, you have to go work with somebody else. Like, what are you going to do with me selling land? Right. So he threw me into the fire and said, go, like, do what you got to do. Right. So it's been an amazing journey. It really has been. I wouldn't trade anything the way that it's been done from start to finish so far. And again, I'm just loving every day of this, Justin. Like, it just, I really feel that I found my calling in life because I come to work every day and I hate using the word work because I really don't feel like I'm working because I'm really enjoying myself this much right now. But it really is a blessing. And I'm so thankful for the opportunities that we have.
I love hearing that story because I think a lot of people make misconceptions about our
I
business.
lost voice there. I don't hear you, my man.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
There you go. No, I was saying, I think there's a lot of misconceptions in our business about what it is, especially now. The National Post put out an article the other day about, hey, real estate's a great side gig if you're looking for something to do. And I think people are coming in our industry in droves, which, if you're willing to do the work, by all means come in. But there's a couple agents that we were talking last week. They've been putting in work and they've been licensed for 4 to 6 months. One of them just banged out 2 deals back to back because it was buyers that she thought, are they ever going to buy? You just never really know. Are we providing them the right service? And they're adapting and second guessing themselves. But I think the magic of working with somebody like you is being able to see the long game, right? Of saying, listen, I got in this business, didn't have a sale for 6 months. And I'm sure you went through those times and those barriers where you were like, man, like, when is it going to happen? How did you push through those walls? Because I went through them too early on in my career, but I'd love to hear your mindset.
You know what? I think once you get the first taste of like, oh, I did my first deal, then obviously a little bit of confidence comes with that, right? But look, this has been 15 years in the making. This is, and I think the problem today is that the mentality and the mindset of just life is today, now. I want everything. I don't want to wait. Everybody wants to get to the top immediately. And look, if you can, God bless. But and I always use this word, there's a lot of sacrifice to get, to get to a certain position. And I still feel, Justin, I'll be honest, I still feel like we're scratching the surface here. Like, I really don't even believe that, like, people say, okay, you guys are doing so well. I always set a high standard for myself in life. And this just goes back to the sport side of me. Growing up, I played all kinds of sports. I was very competitive. I always liked to do well. It didn't matter what I was doing in life. And, when I took that mentality into real estate, and it's really how I really look at it. It's not that I'm competing with others. Don't get me wrong. I'm competing with myself. That's the person who I look to compete with, because when it comes to business, there's enough real estate for everybody to survive. And you can't service everybody. That's just the simple reality at the end of the day. And again, going to like Clubhouse, that's why I like going in there. And if I can offer any value, look, same thing. We spend time in there. We don't get paid to go in there, but the sense of being able to help others, I guess, if they look to you as a role model or wherever the case may be, providing value for people, to me, is very important, right? I think it goes a long way. And especially when you have a following, like, we got a lot of people who follow us. Like, there's a lot of people, in the Instagram chat right now, looking at this video, and we always get messages saying, hey, love what you're doing. It's very motivating for me. For me, Justin, those messages are what makes me want to do all this stuff. Because if there's anything that, again, I can do to help somebody grow their business, let's do it. I'm all about winning. And I want people to win also. And I spoke about this in that chat also on Clubhouse. I started a team not to make more money. I started a team because I said, it's nice to do well, okay? But it's nice to do well with others. That's the key, okay? And if you can win as a group, as opposed to being an individual doing it, like, what else more can you ask for at the end of the day? So to me, that's very important.
Yeah. And actually, I want to dig into that for a second, right? I don't script any of this. I didn't send you any questions, but
this is nothing, bro. This is off the cuff, eh?
Yeah, well, I wanted to bring that up, right? Because we spoke about it. And I think my comment to that room was, I operate my team the exact same way, right? I think about an abundance mentality and let's learn how to shoot pucks together and score together. And then we'll be able to go out and get more pucks and do that. what the other side of that people don't understand is in our business, if all we cared about was profit, we'd fire our whole team right now. We would hire showing agents on salary and
Yeah.
we would just make more money, right?
Yeah.
The amount of money that you actually give to run an organization like you do. But the real magic is when you have talent that you teach to fish with you and they can go out and they can take care of your people and your clients feel like, man, I'm getting expertise left, right, and center. Mark can go out and level up. And what you said is exactly how I think, where I'm like, I haven't even gotten started yet. People look at any indication of success and they think, oh, they've made it. That's where I want to get. But you and I both know, especially with the level of people you deal with on your sales, there's always another level, right? When you own a $15 million mansion, there's a dude that owns a $50 million mansion. When you own that $50 million mansion, somebody in Tokyo has got a $200 million mansion, right? Let me know. Let's give the audience a little bit of insight into that. Like, how do people that you see at different tiers and levels in the industry, differentiate their mindset from each other once they get to those levels?
I think what's important, and this is just, look, in a business where there's no cap on how much money you can make. That's simple reality in sales and in general. Forget about real estate, just sales in general. I
Mm.
think keeping a mindset of being humble is very important because nobody wants to work with the person who feels like their shit doesn't stink straight out. And it's just reality. And some people have that mindset. They like having that mindset. It doesn't interest me. I'll be honest. And the one thing about me, Justin, is money will never change me. Okay. And there was a very long part of my career, and I tell people it's embarrassing to say it because you say, well, what kind of a businessman are you? But there was probably a 6-year run in my career where I didn't look at what I was actually making by the end of the year in the sense of like to the penny. What did I make? Did I make XXX? Because the money doesn't motivate me. Money's part of the process. I always believe if you do good work, the money will come. And if you don't make money the primary focus and you make what you're doing the focus and put everything and all the energy into that, you're set, man. Like it's a simple formula. And people try to make it this big thing. It's not. And you can tell who are the people that are trying to sell you something. Okay. And I tell this to my clients all day. I think one of the things that's got me really far in my career is I'm very truthful. What you see with me is what you're going to get in this live video, in person. When I speak, I like to think what I say holds a lot of value and a lot of merit because people know I'm not bullshitting them. Hey, I'm going to sell you this house. If you'd like to buy this house, you can buy this house. I'm not being sold the house. You know what I'm trying to say? Look, we're in sales. When I go in somewhere, I feel like I'm being pressure sold and it's like you're just trying to angle me. It turns me off. And I see that being in the sales side of things. So I think it's very important. Doesn't matter what point of your career you are at, whether you're just starting or you are the top producer in your area, keep the same mindset. Always feel like you can do more for people. That's how I go into every situation. What else can I do? What else can I do to be better? What else can I do for you to make you happier? And that's just a mentality I live by. And I'll never change that. It doesn't matter what point in my career I'm at.
Well, it's about it's about the game. It's not about the money. So many things you're saying make me smile because inside I'm like, okay, I'm not an insane person. People can smell it, especially these days. Consumers are getting smarter. And you
Absolutely.
and I both know the people that have it don't act like they have it. And the people that are overcompensating and they're acting like you said they were acting,
Yeah.
typically they don't last very long because, they start name dropping and being that guy with people that have really actually accomplished something. And
Yeah.
everybody that I've ever met that is somebody I actually admire and respect. Never once have I seen them take a second of their time to spit out negativity to anybody. So we won't get into internet trolls today.
Yeah.
But not only that, they're also not focused on the money,
Yeah.
right? Because if they're focused on the money, they've kind of already lost, right? So I love that you're saying these things, and I want the audience to anchor that this is his mindset. The last piece I want to unpack there, you're the same guy in the Instagram videos that I knew for years, and I always dropped in and tried to support you because you're doing good work. You jump on Clubhouse. We've probably spent hours together at this point on the different panels that we've been. Your words track to your actions. And now we're face to face and you're telling me that the foundation of everything that you believe tracks to the first two. you can't hide who you are anymore. There were two massive tech guys in a room yesterday. One guy had like 2.6 million followers. Not that the followers matter, but this guy's heavy in the tech space, actually massive real estate investor overseas, Asia. And he was talking about the value of a real estate agent. And everything you just said tracks to somebody that I want to work with. Somebody that is just a salesman is going to get replaced with technology. You and I both know that, right? Like sold day is coming to the market.
I agree. I agree with that. And the thing is, Justin, I tell everybody, and just whether it's my team members or anybody who asks questions, look, you can shoot videos a certain way, you can make reels, you can take photos, you can use the same photographers, but at the end of the day, this is a people business, okay? And what can't be replaced is the person sitting in the chair, okay? That can't be duplicated. And people seem to forget, like even in a market like we're in right now, the market's on fire. I've had people say to me, oh, any agent can sell anything right now. Hey, look, any agent can sell anything, but what are going to be the end result at the end of this? Because people don't look as, obviously our markets are different, so price points are different. But when you're talking about entry level homes in our market, when the freehold sector starting at $1 million, these are first time home buyers. Okay. We're spending $1 million plus on a townhouse. The difference of a few different words in negotiations or how you treat somebody or the reputation you have can swing that price. And, people talk about, half, this guy's doing it for 0.5% less or 1% less. 1% on $1 million is 10 grand. 10 grand is a shitload of money. Okay. It's not. I'm not saying that it's not, but 10 grand of $1 million is not much. And a professional who knows what they're doing can make up that 1% in commission like this for somebody. And a lot of that is how much do they care actually to do it? And I tell people, the discount agent who's going to come in and sell your house for free, basically, if he can't even negotiate his own commission on what he's going to put in his pocket to provide for his family, how can you think that they're going to care about your money? They're simply not. So, it's just, there's a lot of great realtors out there. Okay. So I'm not here sitting saying we're the best. There's so many great realtors that you can work with. And I just think that this business, yes, technology is changing everything and the way that we do business across the board on every spectrum. But this is always going to be a business where you need that personal level of service. That will never change. That's why I'm not afraid when people say, oh, is technology going to replace you? It's not going to replace me. It really won't, because again, I have to be replaced at that point. So knock on wood.
Well, and the other thing is the adaptations you constantly make, right? So again, you're listing my house because if I got to play a house in your spot, I'm calling you. You're sitting up at night thinking about me, thinking of how I'm going to find these solutions. You've got 10 years of track record with people in your market that they see your name attached to a property that comes with a certain level of clout that you can't buy. Your network, your database, your executions. Selling the house is actually the smallest part of the transaction for us. It's everything prior and then everything after, where you're talking swings of hundreds of thousands of dollars of value. If you look at, properties you've sold versus other properties approached with a different mentality. But I do think, again, there's different business models out there for everybody. And there's a reason why you work with a certain clientele that you work with, right?
Yes. But Justin, again, like the care aspect, and I love what you were saying about, at nighttime, you're thinking about what you can do next, right? I don't know if you want to, it's a sickness that I have, but I'm always thinking about work. I'm always thinking about my clients. I'm always thinking about my property. So it's one of those things where it's like when people, hey, Mark, how many hours do you work a day? I literally feel like I'm working that every second that I'm awake, because my mind is always going. Listen, there's certain, I was talking with one of my good friends who's a fantastic realtor. We were talking last night. He's like, I'm trying to get into this property and show it. And, I was trying to call the agent from 5 o'clock. It's like the agent shuts his phone off. It doesn't make any sense, Mark. So now again, imagine you have a realtor who's representing you, but they're not accessible, right? That's going to hurt your sale indirectly. So it depends on, look, anybody can have a real estate license at the end of the day. Is how serious do you take what you're doing? Because if you're not going to value, for me, having my sign on somebody's lawn is the greatest compliment. Justin, I have a realtor's house listed right now who doesn't work at my company, works for another company. We've sold many realtors' homes. That's probably the greatest compliment ever to get, is to have another, realtor say, hey, would you be willing to sell my house? So again, I think it just goes with the care. You can't bullshit the care. You can't lie. People, look, Instagram, you can go put up a picture. It's all fine and dandy. And that's why I tell people do video, because video, there's full transparency. What you see here, the way you hear me speaking, there's no angle on it. You get what I'm trying to say? You're seeing everything. And I just really believe we always use this thing about being transparent, consistency. You have to be true to who you are. And because that will never change. And I think people respect that, right? If you're trying to be this one persona online and then all of a sudden you're a different person when we're speaking, offline in front of people, you see it. You see it and you smell it. And straight up.
No, actually, I literally got so excited when you said that, because I saw a video of a guy that is in my market, nice guy. I'm friends with him. We do some stuff together and everything else. And actually, there was a story where he popped in, and it almost looked like two different people, right? Like somebody else had posted a video of them out at the night, and like the persona you put forth to the community and the persona that you have behind a closed door, they don't track to be the same. In this day and age, you're gonna get found out, and it's probably gonna hurt you in the long run. I actually like the other version of him because that's who he is, and show yourself warts and all, right? Like, I think people respect you more for it. Now, the Instagram live is blowing up with a similar question over and over. I know we're not actually looking at the Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to focus on the Zoom portion.
Yeah. So I got you. So I think the overarching question is, what advice would you have for new agents? It seems like there's a lot of people on this feed that are maybe in the business. Maybe they're looking to level up their game. What would you tell the new agent coming in the business?
And you know what? I'm going to tell something that I didn't do. So that this kind of contradictory, but I think I know a lot more now. And I can say that from having the experience. And I just keyed in on the word. It's experience. Okay. New agents, what I would tell you, I'm looking at you guys here on Instagram. I would tell you to forget about the money at the beginning, especially like really forget about the money. The reason why I say this is if you can get the opportunity to shadow or just even be around or ask questions to a top producing agent, someone who actually is doing this every day, who's making money, who's selling homes, the value that you can get out of that, as opposed to, just trying to go rogue and do it yourself at the beginning, well, and let me rephrase this too, this is a long game. This isn't a short game. And that's where people need to understand stuff. So it may take you, again, 6 months to do your first deal, but look, I'm not looking at today. I'm looking at 5 years from now. I'm looking at 10 years from now, because I intend to be in this business till I die, flat out. Okay. So when I have that mindset of what can I do to set myself up for success long-term as a new agent, just try and hang around or have a coffee, or if you can get the opportunity to work on the team of a top producing agent, do it. Forget about the money. Again, don't worry about your splits. Don't worry about that stuff. If I was able to give somebody the opportunity to just sit with me on a daily basis and literally tag on to me for a week, they would get more knowledge than they'd probably get for the first year or two being by themselves as a solo agent. So that would be my advice to any new agent right now.
You're going to get blown up on your DM saying, hey, can I come hang out for a week? I think it'd be 5 years, brother. Like, I see that's actually one of our keys to success is, I dedicate about 25 hours of my time a week to my team. And that's through, systems training, platforms, and then letting them know, hey guys, we're coming to do this day. I'll have a photographer there, come out and hang out with us. We'll create some content. I got some ideas that we should probably collaborate on in terms of what we're doing in that space. But, it inspires you to get better, right? Because as a leader, you're thinking, okay, man, like what else can I give them value-wise? Or like, I told them this, what's next? And you're constantly ideating. And again, that's the beauty of Clubhouse, the beauty of these conversations and these relationships. I mean, I'd love for you to meet my wife one day. She runs the business with me. We could go up to Muskoka, hang out, talk shop, have fun, talk about the future.
My wife works with me at the office too, bro. We can make that happen for sure.
For sure. And, it makes it feel like it's not really a job, because I know in your mind, just off what you're saying, you're me from that standpoint where I'm excited to get to work. Like, I don't look at it like, oh, I got to deal with these buyers and oh my gosh, this negotiation's happening. How do you deal with attrition in this business when other people put their head in the sand in a negotiation? They're not getting the traction on a listing. They got to find buyers. The market's hot. It's maybe overpriced a little bit. Where does Mark's brain go with, say, a listing like that and sellers that are like, hey, we got to get this sold, but they're not listening to you, say, a pricing recommendation?
Look, I always believe the first thing is, look, and I'm always transparent with my clients. The first day I sit down with them, I would like to say I don't want to say I underquote, but I don't set the pie in the sky to fail. I rather give a conservative, let's use that number, a conservative number for somebody and overachieve, rather than saying your house is worth all this and then I end up down here. You'll never see me do that. Okay. I think it's very important to let your clients know what you really believe the house is worth. And when you can get to the point of your career where you're not just trying to get a listing, and you're actually walking in there with a clear mindset. If I think your house is worth $1 million, I'm going to tell you I think it's worth $1 million, not 1.15, because you believe your house is worth that. I will always try, Justin, and this is the one thing that's important. I will always try to hit a home run, because like I said, I like to do well. And, our stats show that we typically sell houses for, a higher price than the average realtor. So we're not the agents that are known to sell houses for cheap. I can tell you that much. We typically are the ones to say, hey, they sell really good properties and they get good money for them. But I think it's very important to right off the hop, set that communication standard with them, let them know what you feel the property's worth, and let them know, hey, well, if you want to try that, we can try, but give your advice, because I never want a client to come back to me and say, Mark, let's say a month into the listing, I asked for a price change because things aren't working. I don't want them to say, why didn't you tell me this a month ago? You get what I'm trying to say? But they'll never be able to tell me that. If you want to try for 1.1, there's an outside chance we can get it, but I believe it's worth $1 million. So let's just make sure we understood this clearly. So if the time comes that we do need to change the price, you've already set the table for that, and you've given your opinion, your professional opinion, because that's why they're hiring you.
Do you document that? Because people have selective memory. You may tell them it's worth X, and then 3 months later, all of a sudden, I don't remember you saying that.
It's happened.
Yeah. No, I understand it.
But when that's in the luxury market, though, is a little bit different. I sort of cut you off there, but so the thing though about luxury homes, and we're talking, 3, 4, 5 million. Now that's different, because you may not always have as many comparables, because when you start getting into the luxury sector, there's a lot of different components that go into these homes that will change the value. It's not all just square footage. Okay, that has a theater, and that has a golf simulator, that's got a basketball court. So there's a lot of different elements that go into that. We just sold a house. It's going to be announced. I didn't announce it. I guess I'm going to announce it here. From Friday tomorrow, it's going to be hitting the list. It's our property in Mineola in Mississauga. It was listed at 4,388. I've never sold a home in that area in my life. Okay. There are predominant agents who work in that area. That's their home turf. And I was told that, hey, maybe you're not the right guy for the job because you don't know the area. And I wasn't told. I was told that by my clients, who were told that by certain realtors, right? Which is not nice, by the way. If you're a realtor, please never talk down on another realtor. It's a very bad way of doing business. But they said, house is not worth that money and you got the wrong guy for the job. Okay. I worked my ass off on that listing. And I told the clients when I sat down with them at the beginning, they found me they've been following me for 2 years. Social, Mark, we love your presentation. We think you're the guy for this job. We know you've never done anything in the area. Do you feel comfortable? And I said, I feel comfortable going to any area, because it's easy for me to, okay, here, learn. Let me see the stats. Let me look at the sales. Let me see what's in the area. So again, I never was in that area. Justin, long story short, I want to say maybe 30 days on the market. I brought my own offer last Sunday on the property. As soon as I register it, 2 other agents came out of left field. So we got into a multiple 30 days into this, but we sold the property for $4,376,000. We were listed at 4,388, 12,000 off list price in an area that I didn't know, or I wasn't, accustomed to. So you always got to try, man. You always got to try and believe in yourself and have that confidence. You know what I'm trying to say? It's it's very easy. I could have honestly walked into that and said, you know what? These guys are eating me alive in this area. I've never been here before. They know the area. I don't. Maybe I shouldn't take this job, right? So you got to believe in yourself and just be confident in what you're doing and understand the value that you bring to the table. I'll tell you the one last point on that there. When I was talking to the agent I actually did the deal with, she goes, Mark, so different than some of the agents I've been dealing with in this area. I said, well, I don't actually work the area. That's not my farm. Chicken, really? No. I'm like, no, it's the first house I've ever had in this area. She goes, it's refreshing. So you know what I'm trying to say? Just the whole way it went down was so beautiful. And I'm so happy for my clients and the purchaser who bought that beautiful home.
Dude, I can tell you one thing because I've dealt with this in the past as well. Anytime you go into a new market or a new product category, people love to say, "Oh, he doesn't do that." And it usually comes from a place of insecurity because they realize
Absolutely.
you probably do it better than they ever could. So if you're a seller or a buyer and somebody's down talking another agent, think about that for a second and realize the insecurities with the person saying it because they're scared of the person that's actually doing it. Real estate sales are very simple, truthfully.
Yeah,
Pricing, marketing, negotiation. That's where you're going to find those hundreds of thousands of dollars that we were talking about earlier. But having an understanding of when you go into these markets of how you're going to approach it and what value you bring to the table, that's where you have that conversation. I think the the general consumers out there don't necessarily understand that in the real estate business, timing can be a huge factor, right? Like you could work your butt off for 12 months on a listing, it expires for some reason, they hire somebody else, that agent gets a random buyer off MLS the next week and it sells for full price. That's just how the business is sometimes, right? It could be from work that you did 6 months previously that led to that person pulling the trigger when you hire that new person. You
absolutely.
never know. But track record wise, when you look at the consistency of somebody's character, their relationships and what they bring to the table, I think the relationship that you have with your realtor, your community, their team, their service providers, that's who you're actually hiring. It's not
Absolutely.
about the transaction, it's about the relationship, right?
Absolutely. Nailed it, man.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. The last topic I want to dig into with you, because I know so many people probably message you. What do you do? How do you grow your account? I want to get this many followers. I want to go back to something you said in the beginning.
Yeah.
I respect you because my mindset is I don't care if I have 100 people, if they're engaged, I love them and I'm going to give them my value. I know that's your mindset, but maybe you can just give people a crash course on how you look at social media, where you think it is today and where you think it's going.
Look, I've always been a huge proponent of social media, and this goes back to '07. Okay, my obviously my Facebook profile is private on my personal side, but a newbie into the business. This I was what 21, 22 at the time, and that's the times when we were going to clubs on weekends, man. We were going to parties, and that's what we were using Facebook albums for, going away on vacation, posting pics, and all that fun stuff, right? And I started posting my real estate albums, and people were like, why is this guy posting real estate albums on Facebook? Like, it doesn't make sense. And I was saying to myself, what do you do as a young agent at that time? Social media was just starting up, Facebook was just getting started. And I'm like, it's free. So I mean, this is before paid ads and all that stuff was on Facebook, right? So I started with that. So I've always been a believer in social media. In 2015, I took my personal Instagram account that I was posting stuff on. I just had a baby girl the year before, and I was talking with my wife, and she goes, "Well, Mark, if you're gonna go public, then why don't you start a professional page?" And I said, "You know what? Nah, let's do this." So I started my Salerno real estate account in 2015. It was kind of, I want to say, things started changing for me at a rapid pace. I was around 3,000 followers at that time. We were always putting out the content. You can go back and on my page and see it. But where it started changing, I bought a drone. Okay, got my drone license, bought a drone. I took a picture. I'll never forget. It was one of my buddy's houses that we were selling. He had an above ground pool on a semi-detached, but it was a large lot. So this would be a great spot for me to try this out. Took this drone picture, posted on Instagram. All of a sudden, the picture started going off. I was like, oh my God, 800 likes, 900 likes. That's not normal for my account. That's okay. Next house I went to next day, drone, front of the house. It was in King City. Took a picture of the front of the house. And this was raw. The blinds weren't even up. I just was testing the drone now. It was a new listing I had coming. And there was actually a tenant in the house still at that point. That's why I remember I wasn't able to set it up the way I wanted. It was on Robert Berry. I took a picture of the front of this house, posted on Instagram, went to Innisfil for a listing appointment. I'm in Innisfil for a listing appointment, and I was, talking about my social media, my big 3,000 followers I had at the time, and I'm like, this is what I do on social. I open it up, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on with this picture? That picture ended up going for like 3,000 or 4,000 likes. And I was like, this doesn't like something. What's going on? People like drone pictures, I guess. This was 2017. So you'll notice I started shooting drone on townhouses, condos, like everything was just getting drone because I said, this is what people like. So that started steamrolling things. Then all of a sudden, obviously you get nicer listings. People like them a little bit more than, typical listings. So that obviously is going to be a great big part of growing it. But I started reaching out to big accounts. That's what I started doing at the beginning. You know, I remember I had done a feature with Inspire Me Home Decor, which is the largest, you know, today design platform. And at the time, they maybe had a million and a half. I don't even know what they're at today. They probably got 6-7 million followers or whatever they're at. But I started reaching out to these accounts and asking them, hey, I have a really nice listing. Would you be interested in posting this? Yes. Went on that account, went on some other accounts. So that started obviously adding more followers because people were seeing my stuff. And more importantly, Justin, than anything, I've always been the big believer of video. So we started doing a lot of walkthrough videos, introduction videos. I feel like I'm one of the first people to actually do those things, to be honest, right? But that takes time. And I was spending 5-6 hours a day on Instagram. It was a job for me. It was literally a side job within my job. So I want people just to understand at this point, don't focus on the amount of people. Because look, if people are going to like you, they're going to follow you. And if they're not going to like you, you don't want to be with them or associate yourself with them anyway. Like, it's just simply that, but I can't get everybody to love me. There's always going to be certain people who are trolls or haters, but I would like to genuinely say 99% of my following are incredible people. They really are. And Justin, I get a lot of messages daily from people, and I obviously try to get back to them as much as I can. It's not something I do it on a daily basis. I kind of do it, you know, periodically, once a week or you know, kind of thing. But it will come, and you don't have to have. I never started my social media account to say I want 150,000 followers. That's not why I started it. I started it because I knew it was going to offer value to my clients. And that's why I put the time into what I do, because it offers value. If this was just a game of, oh my God, I have so many followers, great. But if it's not doing anything for my business, I could care less. I'll shut my Instagram account down tomorrow if I felt that it didn't add value to what I was doing on my business level, straight out. So that's the most important key. You know, build it for a greater purpose, if you want to call it that.
Well, I tracked something you said about the followers, and people are always looking to gamify the system, and they care so much about these metrics that don't matter.
Yeah,
Truthfully, right? Like we've noticed algorithm changes where the
absolutely.
quality of engagement actually matters more than necessarily the likes.
Yeah,
But it's like the money. You focus on the money, it's never going to come. You focus on the followers, it's never going to come. But if you look at the content that you're putting out there and how your audience is responding to it and how much value you can bring to the table, it's why I do this, right? Like people will say, you know, Justin does these podcasts. And what's the point? He's talking to Mark in Toronto. Like, how's that helping his sellers here? Well, Mark's got luxury buyers that might be leaving the GTA. Guess who's probably going to represent them when they come here? And then,
absolutely.
you know, if I got an idea for a luxury home and I'm like, dude, I'm having a hard time, I could call you. You could call me. There's things that I'm doing that maybe you can take into your business and vice versa. Again, it's about relationship building, right? So I
I
absolutely love.
wholeheartedly. I agree. And Justin, the other thing too is that people need to understand, because everyone feels like they're in a rat race. Really, that's what it is. Okay, it's like who's got more followers, who's getting more likes, who's got a bigger, you know, sphere of influence. I really encourage people to stay away. And I know it's so easy because people get messages. I get messages daily from these accounts. Oh, are you looking to grow your following?
Yeah.
Are you looking
Yeah.
to? And listen, unfortunately, if you're in a position where you feel like you need it, some people will do it. And I'll tell you, that stuff is very easy. You can go on socialblade.com, type in any person's name on there and look at their account, and you can see who's real and who's fake. You know, you could go buy 50,000 followers, and all of a sudden, let me tell you, that 50 is going to turn into 25 before you know it, because they're ghosts and they're going to fall off the account because they're not real. Right. And that goes back to being transparent. My thing is this: if someone is willing to cheat the system or try and portray something along those lines, like, what type of an individual are you dealing with, just in general, right? So just don't focus on that kind of stuff. Just be you. My God, there's only one of you out there. Like,
I agree, brother. I mean, how you
shit,
do one thing
man.
is how you do everything, right? If they're gaming the system and buying fake followers because they think it makes a
People see
difference
it.
to
People
people
know,
out
though,
there.
Justin. It's not a secret. Or at least people who are knowledgeable
Well,
will
we
know.
know, you and I know, right? Like I see an account with 50,000 followers, they get 2 comments per photo. I mean,
Yeah.
the people that actually matter in this space,
Yeah.
they can see it, right? The people
I
that,
think it's just so much worse at that point. It's just actually a bad look. You know what I
yeah.
mean? People see that you're a fraud. That's basically what you're telling people, is you're a fraud.
We'll end on that point. I'm going to leave it to you, brother. I want to give you a billboard for my audience, for your audience, for everybody that's out there, right? This is going to be evergreen. I'm going to put some serious effort behind this when we launch it. I'm going to give you the footage because I think there's so many nuggets in there that your team can disseminate and put out on your channels. If you had a billboard that you could put up that every person on this planet would see long after you're gone, what would that billboard say?
Wow, that's a deep question. But honestly, I think I would just want it to say, like, if there was a quote or there's something beside my name, I would just want people to look at me and say, Mark was a good person. He was a truthful person and he actually cared. Like, that's the things that I would sit there and say. I don't want people to remember me as Mark was the best realtor. He was number one in stats. And I don't give a shit about that stuff. I want people to genuinely look at me and say, he's a good human being who actually cared about me and, you know, how successful I was and how he represented me. That's what I would want it to say.
I appreciate that so much, brother. That's what it's going to say when I post this online. So thank you for your time as always, my man. Thank you for the Instagram audience, all these new people that I got to meet.
Thank you for bringing me on. I honestly had a really good time today. And Justin, I tell you, I come into the rooms on Clubhouse to listen because there's so many great people on there and you are one of those people. And I see the amount of people who look up to you and respect you and admire you, man. So keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it. I told you I've been watching those videos that you're doing lately. You're doing an awesome job. So keep that up. And like I said, it's been my absolute pleasure to just join you here on today on this podcast. Anytime you want, I'm down to do this. But now you're gonna have to come on my podcast because this next season I'm doing is I just want to bring people in the same way that you're doing it like this. That's what I want to do. So you have to promise me that you're gonna join me on my podcast.
For sure. I'm going to start a hashtag Salerno Shuffle for all the inspiring videos. Enjoy your day. Go sell a whole bunch of stuff. I'm sure you'll
have a good one. Okay.
All right. See you, brother. Take care.
Bye, Justin. Ciao.